Why is forgiveness so critical for having a positive, intuitive life? Why can't I hold grudges against the people who so offended me or stole my things or cheated on me or fired me or whatever dastardly thing that they did, right? Well, here I'm going to tell you why it's not worth it. My name is Leah Chantel. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful intuitive practices of all, and that is forgiving people who have wronged us. And why is it so powerful? Because when we hold on to things that are negative, it's kind of like if you ever looked at makeup that's really crappy knockoff makeup that's sold in underground markets, but there's toxic ingredients in them, and that's why basically they're not allowed to be sold in mainstream stores. Well, that's what not forgiving looks like. It's like a makeup, it's like an armor that you can put on your face that looks good to the outside world. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be tough and I'm not gonna forgive and I'm never gonna be cheated on again. I'm never gonna have my stuff stolen again. I'm always gonna be suspicious and looking at people. But the makeup is toxic and it's leaching inward into your skin. And I've seen some people with that makeup even had like their lips sealed shut with super glue and shit like that. Sorry to swear, but like, it's true. That's true. It's toxic makeup that looks good to the world when we're acting all tough and sarcastic and hey, I'm not gonna forgive, but actually the poison is leaking inside into your skin, into your body, and it's really dangerous. It's better to almost have no makeup or no armor at all. Or find the makeup that's really good for your skin, and that would probably be like forgiveness. That's like the makeup that's real, that you can put on your skin and actually makes you look good and is decent for your skin. So I'm gonna start at the very beginning. So what happens when we do experience an injury? Why are things that we experience in our life so painful sometimes? You know what's interesting for me was there was somebody in my life that I trusted recently who actually stole some of my things, and they weren't like really expensive possessions. They were just small things, but they were things that I'd worked hard to import from China, you know, and I was experimenting with a business at the time, and then I decided not to pursue it, but I was annoyed that my hard work went to waste, even though I didn't spend that much money on the physical items. And I was annoyed that my trust was broken by somebody whom I thought I really trusted, you know, and it took me a little bit of time to get over it. It's so funny. I feel like I'm prepared for forgiving the really big things in life, the really big tsunamis that are coming. Like, oh, I've mentally prepared myself in case this happens and my marriage ends in divorce or something. But then these little things crop up sometimes that I didn't expect. And then I'm like, oh, I'm so upset about that because it just came out of left field. Like somebody did something wrong to me and I just wasn't considering that this would ever be an issue or ever be a thing because it just didn't cross my mind, right? And so forgiveness is a really important practice. Nelson Mandela says it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die when you don't forgive. And basically what you need to do in order to forgive is, first of all, you need to assimilate what has happened, what has caused so much injury and why. And basically I go out and work out when I first experience an emotional upset or an injury because for me, moving the energy out of my body, whether it's through jogging or yoga or weightlifting, that is good for me anyway, even when I'm in a happy mood. But when I'm in a negative mood, that just helps drain all the negative charge out of me. I will just push it into my run. I will push it into my weightlifting, and I will go all out and push as hard as I can in my body. I mean, maybe that's not right for everybody. Maybe you should go for a more leisurely walk and just reflect on what has happened and why it hurts so much. But for me, I love going hard at the gym. So do what's right for your body. Don't go crazy if your body can't handle it. But for me, that's like one of the best first steps for me that I really love to do is to just hammer it out at the gym when I'm pissed about something. And then when I've had that chance to move it out of my body, I'll get a chance to maybe talk about it a little bit. I think it's okay to vent a little bit about something negative and traumatic that has happened, but you need to be strategic about it and set a limit on how long you talk about it, and find a safe person to talk to about it, like a therapist, for example, or maybe a really good friend. If they're really good at holding the space for you, then that's amazing. But be aware with friends that there is a limit and that you can't keep going to complain to them forever. That's not good energy. But having some channel in order to go and talk about it is sometimes helpful, but also just realize that at some point you need to let that story go and that you need to finish that chapter of your life at some point. Then after you've talked about it, sometimes I will write it down on a piece of paper, and I will not only write down the story about what happened and why it was so injurious, but I will also write beside it, what was the gift that came out of this experience? What was the gift of some person who was so close to me in my life stealing my things and then denying that they'd stolen them? What was the gift that could possibly come from that? Well, I realized just how resourceful I am, that I can get so much stuff in the first place that people want and that they want to take it even. It's like I am that powerful, and I'm so grateful to myself that I can figure things out and I know how to find things and import them from China or whatever. You know, it's not as hard as people think. And when people go to the mall, they overpay for so many things that are just not necessary and they don't make any sense. And I'm so grateful that I have the gift that I know how to be resourceful and find things that people want at a lower cost. And I'm also grateful that I can afford to lose something like that and not worry about it, because I know that it's easily replaceable. Maybe to somebody else that seems like a really rare commodity that they would need to pay 40 or 50 bucks for and work a long time to pay for it. But I know where to find it for like $5. So I'm very grateful for my knowledge and my resources. So that's very important to write down on a piece of paper, but I don't recommend doing that actually until you physically worked out first. I would say work your body first, then talk to a really good friend, and then write it down. And then decide you're going to let go of the story, that it's time to forgive and move on. And I say decide like it's like a quick thing. It's not actually. It takes time to forgive. Sometimes you need that time to grieve. You need time to process and assimilate what's happened, especially when it's something big. You need to realize how you were responsible for that thing happening. Like for me, when my possessions were stolen, I was trusting somebody to look after my possessions for me when I was moving, and then they disappeared when I asked for my possessions back. And so my life lesson from that is maybe I shouldn't trust other people so readily with my possessions, and that I need to be more resourceful and taking care of them myself, right? And so accepting responsibility for your part of it, even if it's a very small component, will also help you to move on and not make the same mistakes again. These are some of these shorthand tools I have for forgiveness. It obviously can be a very in-depth process, and I could probably do a whole class on it. It's so important in life, especially if something really, really awful has happened, like you were sexually abused, or you went through a very traumatic divorce and you lost everything, or you had a parent who abandoned you, or whatever it is. All these things need to be assimilated, and you need to be able to forgive, because when you do forgive, you're filled back up with positive energy that negative grudge was holding in your body, and you'll be able to connect much more deeply with people with a larger sense of empathy. What has been the hardest thing in your life that you've needed to forgive in, and have you succeeded? I would be really curious to know your stories on that, and so feel free to drop that in the comments below. And also please click like if you like this video and my tips. Feel free to share any other tips you have found helpful in forgiving others, and I would love it if you click subscribe. I'm also going to pop a link to my free self-love group on Facebook below, because you will find more inspirational tips and ways to take care of yourself when you're going through a hard time. And people may really need that if they are going through a moment where they need to forgive something big in their lives. Thankfully for me, the biggest thing lately was thievery. When I think about it, it's actually really not that bad. I've been through way bigger things in life than that. So really, I have not much to worry about, because I've handled huge things and come out successfully, if that makes sense. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and take care. Bye now.